Hi and welcome here, Eric Simpson here, and this week we're going to talk about 3 common diet mistakes that women over 40 typically make and how to fix them fast. Because look, if you're making these mistakes and you're not aware that you're making these mistakes, life can be pretty miserable. Before I get started, it's probably worth saying, look, no one's going to be able to eat perfectly all of the time. More often than not, you've got one or two things going on. Sometimes you want to be the angel on the right hand side where you're eating really, really well. Other times you've got the little sort of devil on your shoulder telling you to go for the cream cakes, the alcohol, the cakes, the crisps, the biscuits, whatever it might be. So we're not saying, and I'm not saying, you have to try and eat like an absolute angel 100% of the time, because that is simply not practical. You know, nobody's perfect. We all have a challenges, myself included. So what we're trying to do ideally is really reduce the impact that devil has on our shoulders that causes us to go off track and make these 3 common mistakes more often than not. So once we know what the mistakes are, we can quickly remedy them. Now, let me just show you how these 3 mistakes all kind of combine together. Then I'll give you the solution as to how to fix them. So basically, it starts off with counting calories. So many women out there are fixated on counting calories. And when you fixate on counting calories, there's very little regard for the quality of those calories that you're actually consuming. So that's number one. When you start to count calories, that's then followed by the next logical step, which is, for a lot of people anyway, restricted eating times, because you want to stay within those calories. So you start to restrict your eating times. And when you start to restrict your eating times and the type of food that you're eating is not particularly good quality because you're only counting calories, you're fixated on that, then you will choose poor quality food. And when you choose poor quality food, you will struggle, you will be frustrated, and you will gain weight. That's what typically happens. So I'm here today to share with you 3 ways that you can get away from these 3 common diet mistakes. Okay. So first of all, hi, welcome. My name is Eric Simpson. If you're not familiar with who I am, I'm an online weight loss specialist for busy professional women over 40 who are looking to lose anywhere between 20 pounds upwards without having to count calories, without having to spend hours exercising every day, without trying to be 100% perfect all of the time, because that is just simply not doable. And the biggest mistake you could make outside of the 3 I'm going to share with you is not to subscribe to this channel. So say if you are new here, find that subscribe button, hit that button so you can be notified when I next release my next video. Okay, so let's get into what these 3 things are in terms of the mistakes. So the first one is how to get out those 3 mistakes. So the first thing to do is improve your food quality. Now, what do I mean by improving your food quality? And you notice I've said improve quality rather than start cutting food out. You see, if we frame it that way, improve your food quality, it makes it a little bit easier for you to accept mentally rather than just suddenly saying, right, ditch all that food and start eating this way. And when you improve your food quality, it's going to have a significant knock-on effect. Why is that? Well, first question I'll ask you is this: are all calories equal? And you may be thinking, well, yes, pretty much, Eric. Well, actually, if that's what you're thinking, I'm here to tell you that they're actually not all equal, and here's why. So on the left-hand side, we've got donuts, and I'm going to the extreme here. And on the right, we've got a salad. I'll go to the extreme in terms of healthy eating. So if you were to consume either one of those 2 types of food, you are going to get an increase in your blood sugar level. And when you get an increase in blood sugar level, you're also going to get an increase in your insulin levels. Now, whichever one you eat, you are going to get an increase in your blood sugar. Even eating a healthy salad will have an impact on your blood sugar level and will have a bit of an impact on your insulin levels as well. But you can see clearly the difference between eating donuts versus eating a salad is going to be significantly different in terms of how it impacts your body physiologically. Now, here's the thing to bear in mind. At the bottom, you've got buy more donuts and store them. So what we're basically saying here is, if you're eating that type of food, if your food quality is poor, your body will be producing blood sugar, it will be producing more insulin. And when it does that, it's effectively going into fat storing mode. Think of it this way. If you went to a supermarket and you bought food for your fridge and you put the food in the fridge and then you felt yourself getting hungry, would you go to your fridge to eat what you'd bought, or would you go back to the supermarket to buy some more food? Obviously, you'd go to the fridge to eat what you'd bought. But when you eat foods that are high or poor quality foods that boost your blood sugar levels, that increase your insulin levels, what you're effectively doing is you are saying, yes, I've got some food in the fridge, but I'm going to go and buy some more food. How that plays out in terms of your body, it's like saying, okay, I've got body fat stores that I want to burn off, but I'm not going to burn those off. Instead, I'm going to eat some poor quality food and try and burn that off as best I can. And invariably, what tends to happen is you eat too much poor quality food, you simply can't burn it off, and you can't use exercise to burn it off because exercise is not for weight loss. You can't do enough of it. So you end up burning off a little bit of the food you've eaten, but the food that's in the fridge, i.e. your body fat stores, never ever gets used. It just stays there because you are eating poor quality food. But when you eat the better quality food, what happens is you keep your blood sugar levels down, you keep your insulin levels down, which means that your body can start to access your body fat stores. So it makes more sense to eat better quality food so that you are in a more of a fat burning way for your body than you are into fat storing mode. So you want to be in a fat burning mode versus a fat storing mode. And if you eat too much of the stuff like this on the left, you will be continually in a fat storing mode. And it doesn't matter how many times you go to the gym, it doesn't matter how many times you go out walking the dog or anything like that, you will not be able to outrun a poor diet. Believe you me, I've had clients who have tried doing it and have come to their senses, thankfully, and have gone on to get some amazing results. And I myself, as a physical trainer for most of my life, I have tried to outrun a poor diet. And I've put in some significant training sessions and never, ever been able to do it. So I think you have to just trust me on this one. You cannot outrun a bad diet. You're simply not going to do enough exercise to be able to outrun it. So that's number one, how you get out of mistake number one. Let's take a look at mistake number two and how we get out of it. So mistake number two is eating habits all over the place. So what we want to do here is improve our eating times. Now, why do we want to improve our eating times, I hear you ask? Well, during non-eating times, we are in a fat burning mode, provided those eating times are significantly long enough. They don't just want to be, 5, 10, 20, half an hour breaks between one meal and the next. It needs to be a significant period of time. We're talking about at least 3 to 4 hours between meals as a minimum, really. Because anything less than that, you are going to be going back into that fat burning mode because you've got to eat the food, your body's got to digest the food, take the nutrients out. And if you are just piling more food on top of what you've already eaten and not giving your body the chance to digest that food properly, then all you're doing is, as I say, you're going into a fat storage mode. So you need to decide what your eating time is going to be like and how to improve those eating times. Now, you've got some options what you can do here. You can delay when you have your first meal of the day, delay when you break the fast, and that's what breakfast actually means. It means to break the fast. So you might want to delay that. Maybe instead of having breakfast at, 7, 8 in the morning, you might push it out by an hour possibly. And let's assume that you had your last meal at, let's say, 6 p.m. the night before. So 6 p.m. the night before, 6 till 12 is 6 hours, 12 through to 7. What's that? So 6 hours, 12 hours. Yeah. If we get to around about, let's say 10 o'clock, if we could push it to 10 o'clock, then that probably give you, or would give you 16 hours of not eating. Now, that might be too much of a stretch for you. You might think, Eric, no, there's no way I cannot eat for 16 hours. Well, maybe just try not to eat for 12 hours then. Maybe say, right, I'll stop eating at 6 in the evening and I won't eat again until 6 the following day. And the good news about that is, if you stop eating at 6, it means, okay, let's say you go to bed at 10 o'clock. So you've got 4 hours before you go to bed. You're in bed, you're sleeping. So from 10 till 12, 2 hours, 12 till 6, 8 hours. So 8 hours of non-eating, 6 of them are done, or more than 6, sorry. Yeah, 6 of them are done when you're, no, 8 of them, sorry, get my maths right. 8 of them are done when you are actually sleeping. So you want to think about that. The other option might be to, you could potentially skip lunch. Some people do that. I'd say the one that's most difficult to try and skip is your evening meal. Why? Because that's when we tend to sit around the table with the family, and there's a lot of stuff attached to that evening meal, or maybe going out socializing possibly. So the idea of skipping an evening meal might not be a good one for you, but if you can, just think about not eating for periods of time throughout the course of the day. It's during those non-eating phases where you'll be burning body fat. So it makes a lot of sense to try and build into your day periods of time where you're actually not eating food. Okay, let's take a look at the third one then. The third thing we can do in terms of getting out of these 3 mistakes, and that's to check your intake, your food intake. Now, I put at the bottom there, if you crack number 1 and number 2, you'll solve number 3. In other words, what I'm saying there is, if the quality of your food is good, if you have periods of time where you are not eating, the chances are you will not need to be checking your calories coming in, because your body will naturally feel satiated. It will naturally start to call upon body fat reserves. And when it does that, you'll start to see your weight drop. And I've had lots of clients, in fact, the vast majority of my clients don't check their food intake. All they do is just check and look at the quality of the food they're eating. I have done experiments on myself where I've just literally checked the quality of the food and done my own little mini transformation just by doing that without measuring or weighing anything. Am I saying you shouldn't weigh and measure anything? There may be an occasion where you have to do that just to double check that what you are eating is pretty accurate. The clients that I work with, I provide them with all of their meals with all the calories counted. All they have to do is basically just check portion sizes, but there's no calorie counting required. But certainly, if you're in any doubt at all, then check your food intake. And there's different ways of checking it. The one that I recommend for my clients is I recommend they use this product here. It's called MyFitnessPal. You can download it for free onto a smartphone, and it will allow you to check your macros, your protein intake, your fat intake, your carbohydrates, and it will tell you how many calories you've consumed as well. So there you have it. There are the 3 common mistakes that people make, typically women 40 plus, when they're trying to lose weight, and how to fix them. Hopefully found that of some use, some value. Feel free to leave any comments or any experiences that you've had with any of those common mistakes. I'd be delighted to take a look at them. If you have any questions at all, then again, feel free to leave them below. And again, don't forget, if this is the first time you've been to this channel, the first time you come across me and you'd like to be informed when I release my next video, simply find that subscribe button, click on that, and you'll be informed the next time I release my next training video. Until then, take very good care, and bye for now.